Hey Keith, how you doing?
Hey Jim, how you doing, man?
Not bad. Okay,
Took me a took
I
me a
see
minute to get on here.
I see some faces and some are awake. No, I see some faces and I see that a lot of you have muted yourself, and that's good until you have a question. If you want to mute yourself so you can drink your coffee, make any noises you need to. I took the exam this morning. We're going to get right into it. I took the exam this morning again to see, hey Paul, how everything is going, and I'm not perfect. I have news for you guys. I'm not perfect. I got 26 out of 30 when I was sure I had them all right, but I rifled through it in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to need your help to figure out. I figured out one of them, but there's three I haven't figured out yet. So the worst thing is you'll go through the whole meeting today, and you end up getting a 26 or 27 out of 30, and you'll still pass the test. But let's move on. The exam is one of the requirements for your ability to be considered for post-tournament for varsity contests with the MHSAA. And as such, we go through this once a year. Your score will be kept for years. I have a whole sheet of them. Problem is, the one test from this morning, it only would reprint the first 9 questions, so I can only reference number 6 as the only one that I can see I got wrong. And with my tail between my legs, and humility abounding, I'm going to try to cover over that one glaze over that one as quickly as I can. So good morning, everyone. The first question on the test this morning is, I think there's a window blocking. Okay, in which of these situations might A5 be ruled for a 3-second violation while A5 is standing in the free throw lane in his or her front court? So again, a 3-second violation. We want to make certain that the team does have team control, not necessarily player control. And if a team has team control in their front court, the 3-second count applies. We talked about this at the meeting, in fact, on Monday evening. So as they go through these, some of this will be kind of review. So again, even though player control has ended, player control, team control continues during an interrupted dribble. On each of the answers today, I'm going to have a reference to a rule or a case. In this case, it's 412.2. If you want to go back into the rule book or the case book and read it specifically, that's the number you want to write down real quick on a sheet of paper. Hopefully you've all printed up this exam. If not, you got a lot of writing to do in a short period of time. So again, the answer is when the A has possession of the ball in its front court, and when the ball is loose following an interrupted dribble, they'll still have team possession. Let's do this. If anyone has a problem or is really raspy about the answer I gave, unmute yourself and speak right up. Deal? Everybody? Okay. Okay. Hopefully, I've heard no objections to the contrary. When does the team first shoot the bonus? Boy, I tell you, if you don't get this one, we got to go back to the square one. Although in the meeting, with respect to everyone, someone said 4, someone said 6, but it is the 5th foul that we're going to be shooting of each quarter, not of each half. This is of each quarter. So use my arrows here. It might be easier to use my arrows on the 15. The number is 481. It's a new. If it's new, I put down new next to it because it's a new rule this year. The scoreboard does not need to exceed the number of fouls beyond the 5th foul each quarter. Psychologically, that's why they stopped counting fouls each half after 10, because they didn't want people to get freaked out, or the fans say, they got 15, they got 18, they got 25. So they stop at 10. I would suggest the scorekeeper not go past 5. I think Paul brought that up at the last meeting. It just makes more sense to people. Paul Ward, I think, brought that up and said how, after 5, it doesn't make sense. It becomes abrasive.
We keep telling each score table, just leave it at 5.
Okay, and that's good. The only thing I would remember as an official is on the 4th foul, just know the next one's shooting, because so easily after the mindset of 7-7-7 over the years, the 5th foul may come up and you'll put the ball back in play quick and forget about the free throw that we have to shoot. So pretty easy. Number 3, if I'm going too fast, just say, whoa, Nelly. A1, with both feet in the air. I haven't had both feet in the air except on the ottoman. catches a passed ball and lands on 1 foot, jumps, and finally lands on both feet simultaneously. Which of the following is A1 allowed to do? This is right in the rule book. In fact, it's 4.4, Article 4. You can either lift either foot off the floor, but you can't return either foot to the floor. So if you lift one up, you're kind of stuck. If you lift them both up, unless you can defy gravity and Sir Isaac Newton, you're going to be coming down sooner or later in travel. You have to either release the ball for a shot, release the ball for a pass, or call timeout, or you'll be violating if either one or both of the feet come back to the floor after you've done what number 3 suggests, with both feet in the air, catching the ball, landing on 1 foot. Again, any questions, just unmute and jump right in. This is pretty easy. It's word for word, if that helps at all, right out of the rule book. There's no variation to the rule on that. Number 4, A1 is dribbling the ball in the front court outside of the 3-point arc, in front of her team's bench when she's fouled by B2. It is Team B's 4th team foul of the quarter. How is the play resumed? This is also part of the new rules for the designated spot throw-in at the 28-foot mark. Know that some gyms are not going to be friendly as far as the marks on the floor. Know that they're not going to be there on the floor. But 436 and 643 will walk you through that sequence. Remember, violations and fouls go to the 4 designated spots. Any ball that goes out of bounds by itself or is deflected out of bounds, rather, goes to the spot nearest where that ball went out of bounds occurred. So 28-foot mark. It's a spot. It's anything beyond the 28-foot mark is the no man's land for any coach to go near the scores table. That's why they designated that 28-foot mark. If nothing else is marked on the floor, boy, I love when that 28-foot mark is marked now for the throw-in and for the fact that the coach has to stay on his or her side of that mark on the floor. Number 5, boy, we're flying. I love this. After A1 releases the try on a free throw, after they release the try, but before the ball touches the ring or the flange, I think Bob Conway talked about this at a meeting. B2, who is in a marked lane space, enters the lane, then crosses the free throw line and enters the semicircle. That's where the player is shooting the ball. B2 does not make contact with A1. What's the result? And we walked through that. In fact, I meant to send Bob Conway an answer, a formal answer, but it's a violation. If the free throw is unsuccessful, a replacement shot is awarded, and that's a 9-1-3 situation G. If it is successful, we can pretty much take our fist and lower it. We're going to raise it up when we see that happening and then lower it. Certainly, any player, I would think, that jumps out of their lane and gets into the semicircle with a shooter, that would be considered disconcertion. I mean, I've seen players do the finger thing to try to distract and they call that disconcertion. Certainly, jumping out of your spot in the semicircle with the shooter would be a disconcertion. Also, a redo on the free throw. So far, so good. If anyone has taken this test, remember now, after number six, which is next, there's 3 more that I am not certain. So we're going to have to count on some of the veterans here to help me out on this. But 6 is A1's legal throw-in is bouncing untouched in A2's backcourt. An official improperly whistles a timeout for Team B. Is that timeout requested? Somebody want to sync with me on this one? I didn't say think, I said sync. Anybody want to throw in an answer?
I'd say no.
I said
B.
B.
Okay, and that's exactly what I said, and I got it wrong.
What?
No, I said inadvertent whistle. Sorry about that. Steve and I talked about this morning, Steve Youngblood and I. The timeout is granted. And the thing is, it's A. I have no idea where I read it. I wrote down the wrong rule reference, but it's granted because even though A has team control during the live ball, once the official blew the whistle improperly or not, and the ball became dead and the play stopped and the clock actually stopped, either team at that point can call a timeout. So team B may not be granted a timeout after the ball is at A's disposal, but only when player control only with player control can a timeout be called. That's my answer, and it's incorrect. So don't write that one down. It's supposed to be A. B is what I guessed, and it's supposed to be A. Steve, another association did the exam, put it on YouTube, and they agreed that it's A. And originally, that's the answer I had, but like, remember back in school, you put the right answer down, you go back and you change it, and you regret having changed it. I regret having changed it. I will offer supportive data on that or information when I finally see it and read about it. But it should be A. It should be A, should be A, should be A, not B. I got that one wrong. Okay.
I don't see how.
It's almost a relief to get that off my shoulders, you know what?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Keith, you all right?
Yeah, I can't believe that one.
Yeah, something about well, it had to do with the whistle being sounded. And even though some could consider it inadvertent or wrong or whatever, a whistle stops the play, a whistle stops the clock from running, and either team at that point, regardless, can call a timeout. Weird, yeah. I never had it happen. Never had it happen. One thing is true though, if the ball is in A's control and it's live and the clock is running, B cannot call and be granted a timeout. Okay.
No, that's true.
Okay, all right. All are true to start a dribble except. That was a pretty easy one. In fact, we talked about that at the meeting. The pivot foot may be lifted, but not returned to the playing court before the ball is released to start a dribble. So that's not true. That's not true. The ball may be pushed to the floor. The ball may be released before the dribble lifts his or her pivot foot. A and B are correct, but C is the one that is not correct. Article 3 under 415. Some of these are easy, and it's refreshing that some of these are as easy as they are. Number 8, all of the following are true with regard to a ball in flight. And move the box out of the way here. Something's blocking. Except what? Anybody want to take a stab at that? This is where I start questioning whether I got these right or not. No, all are true except. I did get this one right. Now, if you think about the ball being live, it has to legally touch someone in bounds to have the ball be in bounds. So a throw-in pass from A1 that has crossed the boundary line, I'm reading D now, that is not legally touched or been touched by a player on the court, that the ball location is nowhere on the court yet. It has to first touch or be touched before it's inbounded. So A, B, and C are good. D is the one that's not. We got a good bunch this morning, about 18 people, I think, so far, but nobody has any questions. Let's just rock and roll. What edges of the end lines and sidelines define the inbounds and out of bounds areas of the boundary lines? Anyone? Anyone? Inside. Whoever said that is absolutely correct, because there's, I looked in the rule book, there's a diagram on page 8 in this year's rule book. If you think about it, I've seen officials, I've watched officials in games where a player has been on the end line to inbound a pass and they stepped on the line, not over, not beyond, but they stepped on the line and they've been called for a violation. That's not a violation. If you're on the court and you step on the line, you're said to be out of bounds. So the entire line from the edge, inside edge, beyond that to the mats and out to the hallway, all of that is considered out of bounds. So think of it, look at the diagram. It's very good. The diagram on page 8 in the rule book gives you a good idea of what over and back is, and what out of bounds on the boundary line or the sidelines are. On over and back, what what part of the line is considered the backcourt, and what part of the line, what divides front court from backcourt? If the ball's in the front court on the division line, where is your determination? Where is the edge?
Soon as you touch.
It is on the inside. So the line is therefore entirely part of the backcourt. Agreed?
Agree.
Okay, next question. When screening a stationary player with his or her within his or her visual field, the screen may be set where? There's 3 examples of screening under the title screening in the rule book. 440 Article 3 is the one that addresses this, and the key word here is stationary player within their visual field. There's a lot of words that are very similar. The statements look almost the same, but if you look at them for a moving player or for someone outside of the visual field, the answers are slightly different. This one, though, for a player that's stationary within his or her visual field, the screen may be set anywhere short of contact. It's almost, in fact, it is word for word out of the rule book. We're good? Good. The difference between the penalty administration for an intentional personal foul and a direct technical foul include which of the following? Wow. I'll let you read it. I had A and B. Intentional personal foul free throws are administered to the offended player with the lane clear. Subsequent throw-in is out of bounds at the spot nearest where the foul occurred. Can't believe I can still roll those words out without skipping a beat. But the difference between an intentional personal foul and a direct technical foul, what other differences between a intentional personal foul and a technical foul can anyone cite? One major thing that'll come up in a later question. Personal foul versus a technical foul. Which can a technical foul be called on a live ball? Typically not, unless it's on the shooter or it's on the coach. It's rare, but technical fouls are usually, most often, if not always, called on a dead ball, where a intentional personal foul is called on a live ball, which is why we're going to penalize that with 2 free throws with the lane clear and a spot out of bounds where the foul occurred. And that spot out of bounds where the foul occurred, has that changed to be if it's on the end line? If it's down toward the end line, we'd use one of the designated spots? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I love an active gallery of people. What is the result when a player makes incidental contact with the net while the ball is on the basket, and that contact with the net has no effect on whether the ball successfully enters the basket or not? I think after the comma, a lot of words they use are just to confuse you. But the
B.
answer is basket interference. Everybody agree with that?
Yes, sir.
You know, when a player touch, remember, if you know the 4 elements of the goaltending, must be a shot downward flight above the rim, not above the cylinder, but above the rim, and a chance of going in. If those 4 things are present, then it's goaltending. If it's basket interference, it's when a player touches the ball or any part of the basket, including the net, while the ball is in flight. That would be considered basket interference. So if you have definitions, it's easy to find this answer. Team control does not exist in which of the following? Anyone?
B.
Wow, great.
I agree, B.
What happens when the ball is released? The ball becomes dead. It's different with an airborne shooter. There's some rules you may want to just review, but when the ball's in flight during a try, remember during an interrupted dribble we talked earlier, there's still team control, even though there's no player control. And when a ball is being passed between teammates, in A and C, Can a team call a timeout when these are occurring? Anyone? The answer is no, because why?
No possession.
No possession, or as we like to fine tune that answer down to no player control, because again, the distinction is player control versus team control. Number 14, technical fouls include all but which of the following? Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Cheated. Whoops, what did I do here? Here we go. Team control does not exist in which of the following? The ball is in flight. Okay, I missed one. Okay, technical fouls include all but which of the following? A technical foul.
C.
C. A contact foul when the ball is live. So this kind of underlines the comment I made a couple of questions ago about when technical fouls. 419 Article 5C. Okay, we're almost halfway through and we're buzzing right along. My goal is to be through with somewhere around 10. That was my original goal. Not to go at 100 miles an hour though, but we're getting through this. The fourth quarter ends with the score tied 60-60. The officials have gone home. No, I'm just kidding. As the players for the two teams walk toward their respective benches, A1, shame on A1, curses at one of the officials because no foul was called on the last second shot attempt. And the official assesses a technical foul, it's not a dead ball, against A1. How about that? A lot of answers to read through. Why don't we just skip over to the free throws awarded to Team B. This is right out of the rule book. They cannot be administered as part of the fourth quarter because why? Because look at
Clock expired.
the quarter ends. So if the fourth quarter is ending, how can you make it part of the fourth quarter? It's kind of makes it kind of simple. Anyway, it starts the extra period with 2 free throws. Now the designated spot throw in, it's 5-6-2 situation C. Anyone have anything to the contrary to that? All right, rock and roll, here we go. A double personal foul. And there are double fouls, there's double technicals, there's double personals, is ruled in the front court near the sideline, right in front of the coach, while A1's try for a goal is in flight. So it looks like a couple of guys are out bashing it up while somebody else is taking a try, and the try is successful. Team A has the possession arrow. Where is the resulting throw in and by which team? That's what the rule says. Anyone have something to offer to that? Anyone have a different answer than that? Okay, nobody is saying anything, so that means it's like,
I had A.
what's that?
I had A.
Okay, designated spot for throw-in for Team A. Well, A1's try for a goal is in flight. So if the try is successful, normally after a successful try, the possession or the ball would go to the opposing team,
Oh yeah.
Team B. So I immediately thought, not A. Maybe for the same logic or similar logic, you'd say B might be an answer. The Team B might get it on a designated throw in. But the key word there is designated in the actual 419-A situation C. It does specify that it's a non-designated spot. Does that make sense? Anybody have?
I do now. I do now.
You okay, Keith?
Yeah, it does now. It makes sense now because
Okay.
the ball actually went in, and there shouldn't be a designated spot because the ball went in. So Team B should be able to take the ball next possession.
On the end line. Yeah, and they can run up and down the end line till heck won't have it. All right, good enough. Thank you, Keith, for that. Which is true if A1 commits an intentional foul against B1 during B1's successful try for a goal. So here is a situation where B1's taking a shot and A1 just hammers them. What is the result of that? Well, in every case, whether it's a 3, it'd be 3 shots. If it's 2, it's 2 shots. Does it matter if the ball goes in or not? Intentional fouls are 2 free throws, correct? Does it, the ball goes in or the ball doesn't go in?
Correct.
So the same situation happens here, number 17. If A1 commits an intentional foul and B1's try is unsuccessful, is B still the right answer? Yes, it is.
Yes.
2 shots, always for an intentional foul. Remember the mechanic for an intentional foul? Let Jim know it's an intentional foul. If it is an intentional foul, do players need to be in the lane? They do not.
No.
If Team B is going to retain possession on the throw-in underneath the basket, which they should, the lane can be clear.
So that's a potential 7-point play.
A lot of points. Hey, Doug. Yeah. A lot of things can happen, but this is pretty simple. Team A has control of the ball in its backcourt for 9 seconds when A1 is granted a timeout. How many seconds does Team A have to advance the ball into its front court following the timeout? I think it's pretty cut and dry. I got that wrong.
9 seconds.
That's the one I got wrong. Because I was hasty and I was in a hurry. So don't put that down as the answer. The clock resets.
I think it's A.
I think it's A.
It is A.
Yeah.
It is A. See how quickly I pushed that. How quickly I pushed that out of the way. But anyway, it's 10 seconds. There's the first one that I had a boo-boo on. See, when you read fast, we had a strategy with little kids. When there was no pressure in the backcourt, if they were ahead by 1, they could keep calling all their timeouts at 9 seconds and never bring the ball in the front court, and then nobody could play defense. Anyway, the answer is A. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
I'm angry with myself, but A, 18 is A. There's number 1. You got to find 2 more of those, folks, where I screwed up. Number 19. During the dead ball, immediately following A1's successful try with 34.5 seconds remaining in the game, the official notices water on the floor and blows the whistle to stop play. Thank you, Mr. Official. Which of the following is true? Okay, again, similar to an earlier answer, if the whistle stops the play, everybody agree with that?
Yep.
Yes.
All substitutes are allowed to enter the game.
Yes, sir.
Only Team B substitutes. Some of these are almost comical. Only substitutes have reported the official to the table, and only B. No substitutes. And so by process of elimination, C even sounded good before I checked the rule book. So all substitutes are able to enter the game. There's still 2 that are over our heads. We have to figure out which ones I got wrong. We only have 11 questions left. Which is true about action on and by cutters? Where'd that word cutters come from? I don't remember seeing that in the rule book too much. Anyone see that in the rule book? The word cutters? Bump the cutters? I don't know. It looks, I don't know. I thought the best answer for anything that resembled hitting, bumping, pushing, dislodging another player, displacing, would be no player, offensive or defensive, can be bumped or displaced off of his or her path. What do you think? Anybody think anything to the contrary? The only other answer I'd even buy would be none of the above, but I think C makes the most sense.
B.
Got it? Good, Paul?
Good, Jim.
Paul jumps in there right at the right moment as I'm starting to sink. All right, 21. To which team and to where is the throw-in that follows a double technical foul that occurs while Team A has control of the ball? So which team To which team and where is the throw-in that follows a double tech that occurs while Team A has control of the ball? I guess, does it matter who has control of the ball when there's a double foul? A double technical. Do we shoot it?
No.
No. This is right out of the rule book too. 436 Article 1, it's at the point of interruption nearest where the spot where the ball was located. So normally in a technical foul, we go at the division line opposite the score table. At the point of interruption nearest the technical foul, if I don't know, when would B be true? Is it worth going there, guys? What do you think? If the double
it could
foul, the double foul was with a ball handler and a defender, would B be true? I think this C becomes true because the point of interruption is there's a double technical foul while A was in control of the ball, but it was on two other players that weren't near the ball. Is that what you're getting from this? Double technical foul while A has control of the ball. Let's go back to my original question. I don't want to sit here and stale this one out too much, but C, in agreement with everybody? 436 Article 1. Okay, hearing no objections, I want to move on. If we have objections, it can always go back. 22, A1 jumps for a try for a goal. And defender BT knocks the ball out of A1's hands prior to A1 releasing the shot. So it looks like he's in the air. Has the ball knocked out of his hands. A1 loses control of the ball while he's in the air, returns to the floor, and regains possession of the ball and begins the dribble. What do we got? Anybody?
Legal play.
Very
Legal
good.
play continues. Yeah.
Player control ends during an interrupted dribble or following a touch by an opponent, causing the dribbler or the ball handler or the offensive team to lose control of the ball. 415 Article 4. That happens a lot. I've seen officials call, it's not called ups and downs, but they'll call traveling. They'll call held ball. Be careful, it's not a held ball unless we have at least 3 hands on it, or at least 2 hands, one of each player, a defender and offender, but we have to have secured the ball. If it's knocked out, that's certainly not a held ball. So hearing no objections, 23 says, which of these results in the loss of a coaching box privilege for the head coach for the rest of the game? Wow.
All of them.
All of them do. It looks like all of them do. It's Article 40, Article 5 D and E, and Rule 420. Remember, the coach is responsible for him or herself, the assistant coach, and anybody else on that bench. If there's a technical foul called on any one of those A, B, or C's, that's why D is the correct answer.
All right.
We can circumvent a lot of that, or we can prevent a lot of that, rather, by using our magic weapon called the warning. Any discussion with the coach does not have to start with the word warning. You can say, Coach, I need you here. I need you to let your assistant coaches and your players know that they have to abide by bench decorum, and that's keep the best behavior because it's a reflection on you. This is your warning. So I always finish with the words, instead of starting with the words, I finish with the words, this is your warning. And make sure at that point, they put it into the scorebook, the time that it was done. So when you do have it occur again, now you got to take the hammer and put it down and call the technical foul. A player strikes the backboard with his or her hand, I'm sorry. Everybody does that happen when hit with the head, with the hand. What's the result? A lot of.
B,
Say that again, please.
B.
B. It is a legal play. And if we know the definition of goaltending, I put it on there, and the definition of basket interference. If you want to make a little note on your sheet there, understand what goaltending is, understand what basket interference is. But looking at B, just the way it is, it's a legal play if you're attempting to block a shot. Now, when would it not be a legal play? I have two examples that I can give you. There may be more. One is if the player's going up for a right-handed layup and the defender jumps up and with both hands slaps the left side of the backboard with a loud screaming yell as if to draw attention to him or herself by hitting the backboard, swings it on the stanchions. That would be something that would be a technical foul, because that's no attempt to play the ball. That's not an accidental striking of the backboard. So in that case, you have to really weigh it. If it's just a block and they hit the backboard, you're going to have coaches, you're going to have fans, and fans will try to help too with this one. They're going to say, he can't do that, or she can't do that. They can't slap the backboard. You're going to be able to hear it out to the parking lot. It's going to be a slap so loud they can hear it in the next county. Again, you got nothing if it's an attempt to play the ball. So you have to use quick judgment and say, was there an attempt? If there's not an attempt, whether or not the ball goes in, it is a violation. So good enough, good enough, good enough. 25. Teammates, head coaches engaging in inappropriate behavior, Lord knows, by repeatedly attempting to influence the decisions of the officiating crew. That doesn't happen, does it? Yes. And objecting to the crew's decisions by rising from the bench using gestures. The coach's behavior has not risen to the level of requiring a technical foul. Oh, yeah? How should the officials address this situation? We just talked about that. So I'm going to go right to the answer. The officials should stop play, have the scorer record a bench conduct warning in the scorebook, and then notify Team A head coach that he or she has been warned. And there's no loss of the coaching box for a warning. That's why I say it's the easiest thing that you can do with probably the best results. Easiest with best results is give a warning. Number 26. This is where I think I got into murky water, guys. Team B comes out onto the court for warm-ups. And you notice that the name on the front of the jersey is shortened from West Grand Village High School to The Ville. What is the penalty associated with teams wearing illegal lettering on the jersey? There is two questions, in fact, very close to this one. So I referenced.
That's interesting because
I got
we
B.
had Lakeview against Harper Woods this week, and Harper Woods' jersey said the Woods.
Well,
That should be illegal then.
according to Will McCoy's letter, which everybody got December 7th, I was holding it up here, it's from Will McCoy. And at the bottom of it, here, there's something called uniforms. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a 2-page letter dated December 7th. It wasn't a letter sent, it was an attachment to an email Will McCoy sent out to basketball officials. Ville is acceptable. Martin Luther King is acceptable. But the King or the Ville is not.
Right.
You can't add the word the, and that's exactly what Will McCoy's letter said. I printed it up and read it again this morning. So since it's a uniform infraction, 3448, and also referring to the MHSAA memo of 12/7/23 on uniforms that Will McCoy sent out, we'd assess a direct technical foul to the head coach, only one. If 5 players, 6 players, 7 players, only one, and start the game with 2 free throws in Team A's ball at the division line opposite the scorer's table. We good with that?
Does he lose the box, Jim?
What's that?
Does he lose the box for the game?
Wow. Administrative technical.
Yeah, it doesn't say administrative, but I think it is.
It is. So the question for the group is, because I'm stumped and I need some help here, administrative technical fouls, no loss of box.
I think you're correct.
Thank you, Doug. Doug Rizzi to the rescue. As long as we're sure on the answer, we can always dissect it later more, but read that letter from Will McCoy. It should be in your, it's not in your trash box, should be in your mailbox from the 7th of December. Next one, we're getting close to the end, folks. Hooray. Team B comes out onto the court for warm-ups, and you notice here we are again. The front of the jersey from West Grand Village High to the Ville. How should you handle this? And I think what this was meant to do is to make you more aware of situations like this, because this could have been one of those 7 answer multiple choices where you would have picked the 3 best answers. In any case, anyone have thoughts on this before we reveal the answers? And again, the answers may or may not be completely correct, because we already found 2 boo-boos, number 6 and number 18. 6 should have been A, 18 should have been A. 6 is A, 18 is A. So mark that down. Don't go by my slides. 6 should be A, and 18 is A. Anyone have thoughts on this?
That's a E.
That's what I thought. Anyone think differently? On the memo forms sent out by Will McCoy again, I gathered that you'd speak to the head coach immediately and let him know, as you would if they had illegal uniforms over the last 5 years. Not on the visual confines of the floor, but if they went to the locker room and changed into an acceptable jersey, they'd be able to play without penalty. And nice thing about a lot of these are jewelry, uniforms, all the headbands, wristbands, all that have changed before the game can be done without penalty. There's no penalty. If discovered during the game, player leaves, changes appropriately in the right area with no penalty. No penalty, it's big. It's very important. There's no penalty. So that's A. B says allow the team the opportunity to change the jersey to a legal jersey prior to the start of the game. So that's why I think it was Doug that said A and B. That's why A and B makes sense. Good enough? Which means, according to Hoyle, I got 28, 29, 20. I got 3 answers left, 3 questions left, and I got 2 of them wrong. Boy, was I in a hurry or what? Let's see if I did them right or wrong or not. A1 and A2 said a double screen near the end line. We talked about this on Monday night. A3 intentionally, there's a good word, intentionally, of their own volition, goes out of bounds outside of the end line to have the defender detained by the double screen. He actually hit the roadblock, I guess. A3 is the first player to come back in bounds and receive a pass immediately. What do we got?
We'll say A or B.
I got B.
The A or B is good. We know it's not no violation. We know there's a violation involved.
It's got to be B, where the violation occurred.
It's B. Closest where the violation occurred. Players allowed to legally, that's the one on the back of that other sheet that I emailed, this one here with the, I don't know, it's one of the ones that came with that 13-page handout. It says players allowed to legally step out of bounds unless they're the first player to touch the ball after returning on the court. So 933 is the rule on that. It's a new rule. So look it up. For everyone listening today, I used to call, if they just ran out of bounds, whether or not, I think a lot of us did, the rule said, if a player purposely runs out of bounds and runs back in bounds, even if they don't, there was no regard to whether they touched the ball or not. It was a violation. I had coaches jumping in my you-know-what, saying, what? And I hated to call it, but sometimes it was so deliberate. I guess I had a chip on my shoulder that day and had to call something, so I called that. Now it makes it a little bit easier for officials like me and hopefully some of you that see it happen. Unless they're the first to touch the ball, you got nothing. Which means they shouldn't be running out of bounds as much, but don't hold your breath. Good enough? Good enough. All right. 29, hold my breath on this one. B1 fouls A1 in the act of shooting on a 3-point try when the ball is in the cylinder above the ring. Cylinder above the ring. A2 makes contact with the ball prior to the ball entering the basket. Which of the following is true? Indulge me for a minute here. Is this goaltending? It would be a first question. I would say not. Because remember, if goaltending is a shot downward path above the rim, not the cylinder, above the rim, so it could be coming on a slant with a chance of going in. The definition, if you go back to a previous answer and look at the definition of basket interference, that's making contact with the ball while it's in or above the ring, in that cylinder, which goes up to outer space or in the ring or on the ring. That's considered basket interference. So A2's action was a goaltending violation. I'd say probably not for A. A1 has committed offensive basket interference, and the score shall be canceled. A1 shall be awarded 3 free throws.
That's what I.
A2's contact with the ball was part of a dunk, so score the basket and award 1 free throw. Can a player touch a ball while it's on or above that cylinder? And if they do, and they say that's basket interference, can it be part of a dunk? No. Play on, no violation? No. So it means that B is correct. In my book, B is correct. Anyone have a different thought? Even though the ball became dead on the shot release, the try for a goal ends when the throw is unsuccessful. 461 and 441-4. Do any of those references, anybody have something different? Because I got to find another one I got wrong. You know, the thing is, I don't care if you call basket interference. I don't care if you call 7-Eleven Slurpee on this one. It doesn't matter to me. As long as you know what's right and what's wrong, that's first and foremost the most important thing. When you blow your whistle and you disallow a basket and you give the ball to the other team, at least know that there's something wrong. It may not require a long narrative, but do we all agree that B is the best answer? Anybody else? Doug Crow?
I got B.
You got B? I have 461 and 441-4. Whoops, go back. 441-4. It's definitely not dunking. It's definitely not no violation. So it came down A and B.
Right.
Because to me, the other 3 answers couldn't be correct because the definition of goaltending doesn't support it. Okay, rather than beat it to death, I was looking for those 2 others. I found 6 and 18, my boo-boos. I don't want everybody to agree on this if they have any problems with it. When you do take your test online, it will tell you which ones are incorrect. It'll have green for the correct, red for the incorrect. So if you get them incorrect, you'll be able to tell right out of the bat. As soon as you take it, it gives you your score right there, and hopefully all the sheets to look at. All right, last question. Wow, I didn't think we get here. During the warm-ups, the crew notices that 2 Team A players are wearing illegal colored headbands, and one of them has the wrong colored undershirt. The officiating crew should do what?
Isn't this preventive
Fouls.
officiating?
Do you give any technical fouls out?
No.
No, so B and C cannot be the answers right out of the bat. This is one I backed into as well. You address the uniform violation immediately. Neither Team A players in the violation shall be permitted to participate until they come into compliance with the apparel requirement. 3.5 and 1.7 are the 2 rules that speak to that. Whoops, looks like Herman, someone like an so that's number 30. How about that? Now I'm starting to worry that we skipped over two of them that we may have not gotten correct and all agreed on. However, if you make 6A and 18A and put all the other answers down that I gave you, that we went through today and worked on together, you'll get no less than 28 out of 30. That can't be all too bad. Sorry about that. I wish I could have gotten a copy that's printed out, but it only went to page 9 when I went to reprint it this morning, and I couldn't get all 30 answers printed to tell you which ones besides number 6 that should be A. We good? Keith, you okay?
Yes, sir.
Trying to see who else is here. We got bunches of people here. Sorry about the late start. I apologize. Apparently when I signed up for this link, and in the process of sending Dennis, listen to me, Bill Roos, the link to send out in an email, I think I gave him the wrong one. I'll take responsibility for that, but we're here, we got it done. If we get enough people moaning and groaning about it, justifiably, I will do it again in a week or so, maybe on a weeknight instead, so everybody can get an idea. The deadline for submitting the test is the 4th of January. Make sure your tests are in by that time. You have 2 chances to take it, and I'll bet you by golly, I know I only got 2 left to figure out, but my second attempt is going to be 100%. No doubt. Without any questions? Nobody have any other questions? We're going to call it a day. Good enough? Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Jim.
Holidays to
Thanks, Jim.
everybody.
All right, thanks, Jim.
All right,
Thanks, Jim.
have a good one. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
All right.
What's up, Herman?
Hey Jim, how you doing?
This Herman?
Yes, it is. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I think Jim and Doug and Keith may be able to hear you too.
Jim, you can't hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you a call back later. I called you
Right.
during the meeting, but we'll talk later.
Okay,
I've got a game today, so I've got to get prepared for this game.
rock and roll. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Your picture looks nice. Are you really that handsome or no?
Yeah. I have to confess. Take care, Jim.
I like the New York shadow. Talk to you later. All right. Bye.
Yes. Take care.
All
Bye.
right.
Yeah.
I had to close the meeting down, but